Again, I'm honored to, along with Cynthia, welcome everyone today to this season of Advent, this Becoming Pilgrims of Hope. It's an important thought for us as we look at our entire Advent journey, because it seems to me of all the stories that one hears in the last weeks on end, is that search for hope, that search for meaning, what's going to happen, where are we going? So today and throughout Advent, we're taking a special focus on hope and what it means to be a pilgrim. There are many understandings of that. I would suggest that it is a person who journeys to a sacred place for spiritual reasons. As one could say, in fact, we are pilgrims as we journey throughout the entire landscape of our lives. However long or however short our life may be, we're pilgrims in search of. The image of journey is near and dear to our very mission here at St. Joan of Arc. We welcome you wherever you are on your journey is clearly a message of hope and a message of welcome. It is my honor today to welcome everyone to this sacred journey. Again, we will celebrate that throughout Advent. The word Advent is derived from the Latin word adventus, which means coming or arrival. To be clear, Advent is not a time of waiting for the coming of the Christ child. That magnificent event happened over 2,000 years ago. To be responsible pilgrims of hope, the many challenges and the needs that confront us, it is imperative that we are able to move beyond seeing Advent as that time every year that we make sure to dust off the nativity set and bring it out of storage. We would be remiss as pilgrims to not see Advent as a time to explore, to take risks, to be a source of good in our world as well as our larger church. It can be a time that we choose to switch it up and break out of our normal routine, to get out of our own way, if you will, to open ourselves to a new message, to make a choice to move into a heightened awareness in order to perceive more clearly the ways of Emmanuel, God with us, is most present in our world right now. It is not a time to fall prey to despair or to turn away from the responsibilities and opportunities that we all have to be a person of hope. Advent becomes that invitation to the pilgrim to come home to our better selves, to come home to our better selves, to consider once again our responsibility to be that pilgrim, to be a source of hope in the world around us, to come in out of the cold and the pain, perhaps, if you will, to come out of the stupor of indifference. St. Joan Chittister offers this description, and I quote, "In each of us is a place where we go, in the middle of chaos, to escape the fray. It is that home place, that soft place, where no memories of it come with ragged edges, and no thought of it is ever tinged with fear." End quote. In this time of post-election malaise, when technology inevitably trumps nature, when we are repeatedly immersed in the mechanical, the digital, the virtual, and we are confounded by a world gone plastic and a world gone actually quite revengeful. Why would we not want to embrace the Advent journey to seek out the natural center of our very real selves? This is another golden opportunity to go inside. This is the place that we can call home. This can be the time to actually wake up, as Luke reminds us in the gospel. Be aware that your hearts do not become drowsy. As pilgrims, Advent invites us, Advent empowers us to acknowledge and reverence our own homesickness for ourselves. How homesick are you for your natural self? How often do you choose to come home to yourself? To be hopefully able to make choices, to move at ease and be available not only to yourself, but to others. 2 weeks ago, when we gathered to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Arm in Arm in Africa, I made a rather bold commitment, if you will, to make every effort, God willing, to be sort of standing here as best I could, right here for our 50th anniversary. Yeah. I may need more than your applause on that. Being 99 could have a certain pizzazz to it. I guess time will tell. As I do become a bit more seasoned in life, next March I will turn 75 years old. That is exactly the age that my father died. So I'm kind of dialed into that, thinking about the very good opportunity, obviously, that I will have outlived my father. I find myself more attentive to the reminders of time passing. I find myself more attuned to the actual environment around us and the events that are marked by the changing of seasons. I'm happy to realize that I now have the privilege of sitting in the shade of a tree that I happen to have planted in my backyard. To be able to experience the shade of a tree that's been there now for well over 30 years. That, again, as times change and the environment, teach us many things. Last month, November 15th, brought to all of us the beaver moon. It is the full moon every November. It is noted by many North American tribes to designate the time that many forms of life begin a very long hibernation period. I have, over the last many years actually, embraced that beaver moon as a time to pay attention. At 4:15 a.m., without fail, I welcome that most amazing full moon to take all the time that it needs to completely fill my bedroom window. It is a moment to consider, a moment to think, a moment to ponder. That yearly experience signals an opportunity for me to reflect on this pilgrim's journey. The opportunity to let go of all the noise, the national and church nonsense, of which there is a great deal, and all that remains unresolved in my life. As I have reminded you and myself on numerous occasions of a very favorite quote of mine from Nicole McElhaney, as she reminds us, "And the moon said, my darling, you do not need to be whole in order to shine." You do not need to be whole in order to shine. I believe it is important to remind ourselves that we may find ourselves living in times that we may not find to be necessarily easy or self-fulfilling. It is precisely at those times that we come face to face with what it means to be a pilgrim of hope. And we are reminded that we can still shine in our own unique way, come what may. Come what may. We can still shine. We do shine. We will always have questions. We will always find space to carry our list of all of our favorite would've, could've, should've. To learn to leave the house just once without that bag. Would've, could've, should've. I highly recommend giving that list to the moon. Remember always that you need not be whole in order to shine. In Paul's letter to the Thessalonian community, we heard the words, "May the Lord help us increase and abound in love for one another." Our 2024 Advent journey, becoming pilgrims of hope. Be watchful, be alert, and faithful to a vision of peace and justice in our world, however that world presents itself. No matter how seemingly insignificant we believe our efforts are, I guarantee you, there's absolutely nothing we do, however small or large, that is ever done in vain. Never sell yourself out. What you have the ability to do makes a difference. It is never done in vain. Becoming pilgrims of hope, be the light to others. Avoid complacency. Avoid being compliant. With a shout out to the late Representative John Lewis, who was in fact inspired by Rosa Parks. We are called to develop an ability and an appreciation for being in good trouble on a regular basis. To be in good trouble on a daily basis. When there are attempts to suppress or silence, be the hope that never, ever, ever goes away. As a church, we are entrusted to be good news, not bad news. That's why they call it the good news. And that's why we come together. We were never intended to regress into being a museum with the only goal of enforcing a safe and an insipid message that fails to give preference to the poor and all those dismissed to live in the shadows of society. St. Joan of Arc, we lack no spiritual gift. When we have the courage to claim our moral compass and be willing to take risks into the uncertainty that comes with being a pilgrim of hope. We have every opportunity. We have exactly what it takes. We deserve leaders that call us, inspire us to be fully engaged in all aspects of peace and justice. We are not built to be a culture of disengagement. We cannot afford, nor can we be misled to a false sense of hope when it comes to our future as a relevant church going into the future. Being pilgrims of hope, maybe we be willing to give ourselves and to support one another, to ease into this place that has no ragged edges and no thought ever need be tinged with fear. I want to close with a medicine woman's prayer. This is written by Sherry Tilsley. It's the most appropriate poem for us today. She shares these words: I will not rescue you, for you are not powerless. I will not fix you, for you are not broken. I will not heal you, for I see you in your wholeness. I will walk with you through the darkness as you remember your light. I will walk with you through the darkness till you remember your light. Joan of Arc. We have an opportunity. We have a responsibility. For the hundreds of people who come over our threshold because they caught sight of the light in our window. For the hundreds, and hopefully, pray God, the thousands yet to come in the future, may we, Joan of Arc, always remember the light that exists in our place. Amen.